Hi guys, welcome to Fierce and Pretty. Today I wanted to talk to you about the Light Seer's Tarot and how it has actually become the deck that I think has surprised me the most out of the decks that I do have in my collection. But we are not only talking about the Light Seers, we are also talking about runes. And here, in this pouch, I have the runes I made myself. And these are made in reindeer antler that I bought from Irene when we were in Lapland, and while I bought my drum, I knew I wanted to create my own set of runes out of these reindeer antlers. So these are the topics that we are talking today. So my Light Seers is the mass market, and I'm totally okay with that one. I did edge mine with this bright blue ink pad. And now, after a good lot of use, I can also riffle shuffle the deck, even though it is a thick one. But in the beginning, I hesitated on buying this deck at all. Because first when it came to market and I started seeing pictures of it all over, I was like, I don't kind of get that, all that enthusiasm and the hype. It didn't look like a deck that I would like to use. It had too many colors and it was looking kind of cotton candy in a way for me. So I just didn't want to buy it. But then I started to wonder at some point that maybe I ought to try. But I still thought that I definitely will not like this deck. But I'm gonna try and see what's all the hype about, because not that many people can be wrong. And I got the deck and I was actually starting to be a bit surprised with all the images and the colors, and the deck started to really grow on me. And I've been actually using it quite a lot, even though I still think the colors are a bit cotton candy for a Toth girl. And it's really modern, contemporary, but for some reason it's been amazing to work with it. But why I'm talking about runes today with it is that these images, they have so much details that you just simply can't absorb everything that is in one single card. At least I can't. There are so many things, so much color, so much expression on the people's face and everything that will steal my attention. And as I've worked with it more, I've started to know these small things. Probably many people have already seen them and are wondering what the F, why didn't you see them at the first place? But I think every one of us has had an experience where we have a tarot card that we know when we've been using well, and suddenly we just see something, a small detail in it, and we are like, how didn't we see that before? And that kind of feelings around this deck. But I thought I'd first show these few of these cards where I started to notice these small things. In the Magician card, I didn't notice the elemental symbols when I first started to use this deck. And when I saw them, now I can't unsee them, but it was like, oh, there are all the elements. And that's surprising because I love searching and finding these elemental symbols in decks, and I love the symbols so much that I even have them tattooed underneath my hermit there. Then in the Justice card, what I didn't see at first was how the other cup has clearly light, a candle or something burning inside it, and the other one is dark. And that was like, wow, that's great, and that was fitting, and I like that. And in the Queen of Swords, it took me a while to notice the cup and how it's in a jail behind bars, and how fitting it is that the Queen of Cups has locked her emotions into that teeny tiny jail. I thought that was brilliant, or at least that's how I see it. And the same with the King of Swords. I just noticed the elemental symbol of air above the raven there. Just these type of small things that I started to notice. But what surprised me the most was when I started to see the runes. Because, you know, I've known about runes a long time, since I was a 6-year-old kid when I was first playing with runes. So I'm no stranger to the imagery. I bought a set of runes from London when we were in the British Museum, these beautiful runes from there. And I've been playing them with a little bit, and I joined this rune study group that Boho Tarot started, this rune group. And I was planning on really going on with my rune studies during summer, but things got in the way and it was postponed. But then when we came back from Lapland and I made these runes to myself, I used this, I don't know, burning tool, what you call it. Last time I used it when I was in school, burned my hair with it back then. But I wanted to try if I could burn the runes into the reindeer antler, and I think that they came out really beautiful. But then I started to notice these runes. You see on the thigh or the hip of the sun card, we have the rune Sovilo. And that's kind of fitting, because the meaning of that rune is also the sun. So then I started to think about, because I started to study these runes. I even created myself a little book, a notebook, where I have collected different things from the internet, printed out about the rune meanings, and I left a lot of blank pages where I can fill in my own thoughts about the runes from different sources and from my personal workings with the runes while I really start to work with it. But then I started to notice more these runes, and I was so surprised because I didn't see them at first, but when I saw them I started to see all of them. And there in the earring of the Four of Pentacles we have Otala, inheritance. I started to notice how fitting these runes are, and yes, I do understand they are not chosen randomly. there is a point there. But what it got me thinking was, while studying these runes myself, because I'm so much more familiar with the archetypes and energies of tarot cards, so how I could kind of see in the runes while studying them different cards, not all the time just one card, but sometimes two cards combining and creating, because I really want to understand each and every single rune and the energies and the meanings in them. So, for example, with the first rune of the old Futhark, Fehu, combining the energy of Empress and the Knight of Wands, if we're talking about Thoth, things like this. So I think I'm gonna explore that also more while studying these runes, to really kind of utilize also my knowledge of tarot and see how these different energies might combine or be present in different runes. Because all in all, if we're talking about tarot, if we're talking about runes, all these archetypal things, these ancient energies, they are present no matter on the system. In her arm there, we have the rune Algis, depicting the horns of moose, but also protection, sanctuary, or security. And I think it's really interesting in this image because even though this is often depicted as an active fight, she's sitting there tranquil, counting on the fact that she's protected, possibly by the Algis there. And then in the Four of Swords, again tattooed on her forearm, we have Ingwas. And what I really loved about when I was reading, and by the way, to all of you Finnish viewers out there, go and check out, I'll link it again down below, Thuleian tupa, the website. There's great stuff about runes there in Finnish. But what in that website was written about Ingwas is written, I'm just trying to translate it freely here to English. A seed is waiting, dark underneath the dirt. New things or new effects are arising. The journey can be dark, long, and time can feel like it's standing still, but you have to have the energy or urge to fight onwards. And the way that in that website it was written that there's a seed underneath the earth in the dirt, and look how she's resting peacefully, gathering the energy in the Four of Swords. I'm finding this really intriguing. Don't know what you guys think, but let me know if you have any other tarot decks where you've seen these, little things that you start noticing. Better yet, if you see some runes in other tarot decks, I'd be interested to know. But then we have two cards that depict a lot more runes, like the High Priestess up there. As the High Priestess also, she isn't just one single energy. There are a lot of things around her. So I think that's kind of fitting too. And in the Hangman, or Hanged Woman in this case, I think, swirling in the water, we do have a lot of different runes, and some of them you can't even figure out what they are. But I looked at them deeper also, and they gave me a new perspective also in this. And first of all, it made me think. So I think while continuing my rune studies, I might be integrating my knowledge out of the tarot cards and the energies around these archetypes more for create a better understanding of the runes, and utilizing the background knowledge that I have. Because all in all, these energies, these archetypal forces, if we're talking about runes or tarot card or whatever system, they are universal. They are ancient. There isn't something so different. They are just looking at the things in a bit different way. But the energies, they are present in this world of ours and this life of ours. But while I'm waiting on my Finnish rune books to arrive, because I love sometimes reading on Finnish, and I also have books about shamanism coming in Finnish, because I've read a few English books already, but I'm super excited to read in Finnish for a change. And once we have topics that we do actually have good books on also in Finnish, so I'm really excited about that. And if there are any Finns that are interested, I can show you those later when they arrive, but they're not going to be very helpful for the majority of English-speaking people here. But other great resources that I can link down below. I just found out today about podcasts that I was listening when I was walking the snoring dog, actually, that you probably hear there. There was this podcast, and then I realized that it's also in YouTube as a YouTube channel, and it's called the Wizard Factory, and they have this series about the Elder Futhark, about the runes, and I'm really excited. I've started with the first episode, but when I find super great material like this on YouTube or in podcasts, I have to really first listen to it once, take the general message, and then start listening it with paper and pen. And that's when the notebook comes in handy, because I have the basics about runes are now in this book, but I'm gonna be expanding on that knowledge from different sources and writing it in. And that's the way I'm gonna utilize that podcast also. And by the way, this image in front of the cover, the Vägsvisir, it's just not a random image from online. It is actually cut out of a photograph of a drum, an actual drum that I bought for myself. I ordered it yesterday. Let's see, it's been shipped today. It's this gorgeous Viking type of drum, and it's gonna be interesting to listen how it sounds and how it feels on top of my Lapland shamanic drum. So I'm super excited about that too. But that's the reason why this exact image got into the cover of my notebook. And on the back we have Hugin and Munin there, the ravens of Odin. And one of the books that I couldn't find in Finnish that was recommended to me highly, it's sold out everywhere. It's called Riimujen viisaus, so the wisdom of the runes, but I can't find it anywhere. It's only present in one library in one city in Finland. I tried to get it at one point, but in that book they recommend that when someone is studying the rune, they would study each rune for 9 days. And I guess that comes from Odin hanging in the tree of life, the Yggdrasil, for 9 days while receiving the wisdom of the runes. And I'm definitely going to do that and use my notebook and study each rune for 9 days. But then when I realized, because first when I made these runes, because these are made to these readily cut reindeer antler pieces that I got from Irene. She makes jewelry out of these bracelets. And first the holes bothered me. First the holes annoyed me a bit. Like, I don't like to have holes in my runes. But today it dawned on me. Because today I'm wearing a necklace that I bought from Lapland, piece of crystal, and it's in a leather ribbon. I actually have leather ribbon in my hair. So I thought that while studying the rune, what if I would just pull a ribbon through there and hold the rune as a necklace for the next 9 days while I'm studying it. Then it would be present. I could look at it. I could feel it. I think that makes a fun way of... I think that's a thing that I'm gonna do while studying each rune for 9 days to make it more concrete and make it more present of the everyday life. Because I know I can make a necklace out of this, because I used 3 extra pieces that were left over when I made these runes, and I made myself this necklace, and then I made this bracelet to the hubby. So, but if anybody out there has good recommendations about runes, the ways of studying runes, books, any ideas, I've researched a bit about the decks. I know there's a rune study deck that was a bit interesting, but ordering it from US wasn't, because then it makes customs and everything, and it's not necessary. But if you have any great sources, I would love if you guys would link them down below. So I think in the future there will be, on top of tarot content, there will be content also more about my shamanic studies and runes and all things like that. Hope you guys like it, but just a warning, heads up, that's what's coming up. Also on top of the tarot content, tarot is not going anywhere, but where my focus is, that's just gotta reflect also onto my videos. So let's see in the future what's coming. Some tarot, some runes, shamanism, drums, whatever. And if you enjoy joining my journey and hearing more about the things that I'm interested in, I'm currently studying, and all the rabbit holes I'm digging in, just make sure you subscribe and hang on, and I hope to hear your thoughts in the comment box down below. Until next time, guys. Bye.